Okay, so this is the first day for 10.5, which is scientific notation. I know most of you have done it before. I am going to run through some examples. I am not here, so but I know you'll be able to handle this. So this are the notes. I am expecting you to copy these down, and then you also get the contract for this one, so you can start on that once you're done. I do want you to remember that after each problem, I want you on your homework from this point on to do arrows up, arrows down, or sideways. So I will actually be doing it on the video to kind of remind you on what to do. In order to get credit on homework from this point forward, you need to be doing the arrows. All right, so I'm going to put the first ones in scientific notation. And yes, you're going to get these copied down. So if you remember with scientific notation, it's going to go after the first between the first two digits, non-zero digits, especially when it's less than 0. So I'm going to end up putting it right in between the 1 and the 2. So in scientific notation, by the way, this is 12,900,000. I'm going to write it as 1.29 times 10. Now I got to count how many places I'm moving it, because it is here. I need to move it to this spot. So that's 3, 6, 7 spots. So b times 10 to the 7th. Okay. And the reason why this is a positive exponent is that this value is bigger than 1. Okay. On b, it is negative. The only thing that's going to affect is the final answer. It's going to be a negative. It does not affect the exponent. It just affects a negative out front. Okay, so my decimal right now is here. I need to put it between the 1 and the 8. So it's going to be 1.87 times 10. And how many places am I moving it? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's positive 4. Okay. The only thing a negative does is it puts a negative in front. Okay. Number's negative, does not affect an exponent. Okay. So this number is less than 1. So that should tell us that the exponent is going to be a negative. So this is where I have to place it, is between the 1 and the 7. Sorry, all these started with a 1. Was 1.79 times 10. Now we got to count how many spots we're moving it. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's not going to be positive 6. It's going to actually be negative 6. Why? Because this value is less than 1. Okay? So that's putting it from standard to scientific. Now we're going to go from scientific to standard. Okay, so that means standard means without scientific notation. All right, so I'm going to, because this is a positive exponent, I'm going to make it bigger. So that means in order to make a number bigger, I got to move it to the right. Well, right there after the 5, I've moved it 2 spots. Okay, so that's 765. I need to move it a total of 7, so I have to move it 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. I'm going to put my commas in right there and right there. So that's 76,500,000. Okay. All right. Part or B for standard form. Since the negative exponent means I'm going to make this smaller, so I'm moving it to the left. Well, once I move it here, I've moved it 1 spot, so I need to add it and move it 3 more spots. So that's 1. That means I'm going to have 3 zeros in front of it. I'm going to put 0 there just to hold the spot, and then 3 zeros in front of it, 3, 7, 4. Now, if you want to check it, it was here, and I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, so that was putting it from standard, or from scientific to standard. Okay, the last thing we need to be able to do is how to do these on the calculator, do some computations. I am going to show you something ahead of time. Is if I multiply the 7 times the 9, I get 63 times 10. Well, I can add exponents. That's times 10 to the 11th. But that is not in the right spot. Right now, that is right here. Okay, when I move it over, I'm actually going to be moving it 1 additional spot. So I get 6.3 times 10 to the 12th. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it on the calculator, which is what most of you will do. So if I go ahead and type this in, we've got to make sure we put these in parentheses, whether it's shown with a parenthesis or not. So I'm going to do parentheses 7 times 10 caret 4. And by the way, you got to come down out of the parenthesis or out of the exponent, close it, times parentheses 9 times 10 to the 7th. So I do caret 7. And then I hit enter, and that gives me 6.3 times 10 to the 12th, which is what we wrote here. Okay. So my advice, always put it in parentheses before you do any operation. Okay. So let's look at the second one. Hopefully you'll be able to see this one a little bit better. All right. Actually, I'll increase the brightness a little bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and type this one in. This is 8 point. So I'm going to do parentheses first. So let me clear that. I'm going to do parentheses 8 times 10 to the 5th, caret 5. Bring the arrow over so I get it down from there. Close the parentheses. Now I have to do division, parentheses 1.9 times 10 to the 6th. And I get, okay, so that is 0.421, and I'm going to leave it at that. It's 0.421. But it says leave in scientific notation. So if I'm going to put this into scientific notation, it's going to end up there. So it's going to be 4.21 times 10. And let's think about this. This number is smaller than 1. I moved it one spot. So is it going to be a positive 1 or a negative 1? Since the number is less than 1, I make it a negative exponent. Okay? All right. The last one, I want us to understand that this is in the numerator, this is in the numerator, and this is in the denominator. So I'm going to do this one times this one, and then divide it by that one. Okay? You can do it any order you want, but I would advise you to do it that way. I think it's a little bit simpler. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So I'm going to do parentheses 3 times 10 to the 20th. And then times 3 times 10 to the negative 3rd. So I do caret negative 3. I have to use the opposite key down here for that, not the subtraction key. Okay, divided by parentheses 8 times 10 to the 9th. Okay, and I get 1125 and then 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did not put it into scientific notation for me. Okay, so I know it's going to go between the two ones. And I'm going to move it how many places? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the question is that a positive 8 or a negative 8? Well, it's going to be a positive 8 because this value is bigger than 1, so it's times 10 to the 8th. Okay? All right, there is something I want to show you on a TI-84, just so we are aware of what it looks like. If I had one that worked. Okay, this one's low on batteries, but I'm going to do the best I can. Nope. Nope. Let me try one more. Sorry about this, folks. All right. Because what it looks like on an 84 is very different from what it looks like on one of the other calculators. Just so you know this, you're going to see on the 84, if you type this in, okay, and you may get an answer that looks like 1.125 E8. That is the same thing. If you see that E, that means it's in scientific notation. So this one would be 6.3 E12 if you see it in scientific notation. As long as you understand that these two things mean exactly the same thing, you'll be just fine. Okay? All right, well, good luck. You got practice 1 to do. It is all up on Schoology, so you should be fine. Okay, see you later.